we wanted to talk
So-
about what happened with Jeff Bezos and what happened, like what we're actually
a-
watching happen to legacy media.
There's a bunch of things that happened this week. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to hit them just so we can, and then we'll talk about it. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
First of all, Jeff Bezos says to the Washington Post op-ed, yeah, we're only going to have op-eds that I like from now on. That's one, which violates every known.
They did that to the Times. Dr. Pat bought the Times, and now, you heard
the
about
LA Times.
Yeah.
The LA Times, and that person from the editorial board, their name escapes me, said that they literally changed words and changed the headline, the title of his opinion piece, and they edited it so that it was favorable.
So it was the opposite of the opinion.
Yeah, the opposite of what they meant.
Crazy. Yeah. I did say I read Candace Buckner, who's I think that's her name, who's a sports reporter at the Washington Post, wrote a column today that was overtly political, basically calling on athletes to like do more stuff, and that Chris Klue, the former punter for the Vikings, who's the only athlete that is brave enough to do anything. And so it's interesting how people are doing workarounds. Like, okay, the op-ed page isn't going to be for politics. Yeah. The sports page is now.
We need to do more films and more visual and more music.
Thank you.
Because there's a very famous brain surgeon. He passed away. He was my friend's dad, and I loved him. He was a great guy. Leonard Schlein, who
that's the Alphabet versus the Goddess.
Yeah, and he hypothesized that once a society accrued symbolic language, they would eschew everything feminine from the left side. Feminine side is left, right? Yeah. They would eschew everything from the feminine side because, when they were burning witches, it was not during the Middle Ages. It was during when European was very, very sophisticated, and they had
the Enlightenment. Yeah.
The Enlightenment. Yeah. And they were eating with a knife and a fork, and they were burning witches.
Yeah,
some of that was because the church wanted to take the property of the widows of the Crusades, but a lot of it was just woman hating. And I fear that because we're seeing so much written, that we're going to start doing knee-jerk things, especially men, towards the feminine. You've seen the turn towards rape culture with the Tate brothers.
Yeah.
You've seen the turn towards
with the president, with an adjudicated rapist as the president.
Yeah, we have adjudicated rapists as a president. We have a guy in that little twat in the vice president's office who claims women. Whenever he says something derogatory, it's against women. Or he feminizes it.
Hegseth, Secretary of Defense.
Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to get a good song. Like I Ain't Gonna Play Sun City. We need a good song.
I agree.
Yeah.
Several songs, and we need a lot of film. We need a lot of visuals. Memes are great. Less words, more pictures.
Yeah. No, that book, the thesis of The Alphabet versus the Goddess, which is a great book, by the way. Everyone should go buy to read it. The thesis is that the more, like you said, Heather, the more reliant societies are on written words rather than images, the more masculine / left brain they are, and therefore the more anti-woman. And the more into the images, then the brain's hemispheres start to connect better and everything is more elevated. Like he said, like when we came out of the so-called Dark Ages, what happened at that time in terms of the gender relations? That was the time of chivalry, when you had all these knights willing to do whatever the women wanted, right? But you didn't know it because the writing itself was less. Anyway, it's an interesting book. But I think maybe TikTok is more going by the Schlein stuff better for us.
The text of God,
Yeah. Probably not what they had in mind, but
and they got rid of all discussion about Mary Magdalene and things like that in the church.
Right.
They had Christianity was the most voted upon, weirdly shaped religion in the world.
This is the last thing I thought we would be talking about tonight.
I know, but I'm loving it. I'm into, yes, we need some anthems. We definitely need,
how about leaders? We need some
leaders. We need to puncture.
We need some leaders.
We have to.
That are there. Well,
yeah,
I think we can wish for that all day with one hand and shit in the other, as a relative might say, and see which fills
we need
up
to
first.
stop thinking about the midterms and think about today.
Oh, I like that line. That's
Yeah.
yes,
That's
exactly.
good.